Nothing in motorsport sounds like this. A four-rotor Wankel. No pistons, no valves, just a scream the racing establishment wanted silenced. In 1991, Mazda brought this engine to Le Mans after a decade of failure. One last shot. French television said no one would bet a single yen on them. To understand how a team from Hiroshima outlasted every factory in Europe, you need to understand the engine they were trying to kill. A rotary engine does not breathe or move like anything else on the grid. Instead of pistons hammering up and down, a single triangular rotor spins inside a smooth oval housing. The result is a constant flow of power, no dead spots, no wasted motion. The engine feels alive, always pulling, always singing. With fewer moving parts, the rotary is light, small, and can rev to the sky. It gives a sound that slices through the night at Le Mans, a scream that never fades, even after hours at full throttle. But the very thing that makes it special also makes it suspect. The surface area inside the rotary is huge compared to a piston. Every explosion of fuel spreads heat across thin metal walls. The apex seals, the tiny strips of metal at the rotor's tips, must hold a seal against the housing as it spins at over 10,000 revolutions per minute. If they fail, the engine loses compression, burns oil, and dies. If they survive, the car keeps running while others fall away. Engineers from Europe looked at the design and saw risk. Too much heat, too much oil burned, too many chances for a seal to crack. The rotary's promise of endless speed came with a question: could it last? Every lap was a test, every hour a dare. The engine was both Mazda's hope and its biggest gamble. The rules were already counting down. The clock was ticking on the rotary's place at Le Mans. Mazda's engineers stared down the numbers and chose survival over glory. On the dyno, the R26B could make 900 horsepower at a screaming 10,500 revolutions per minute. That figure looked good on paper. It could shatter lap records, maybe even break the car itself. But Le Mans isn't won by peak power. It's won by the machine that keeps moving when the sun comes up. So they cut it back. Boost pressure was dropped. Ignition timing was pulled back just enough to keep the apex seals from burning up. The red line shrank from 10,500 to 8,500 revolutions per minute. The factory spec sheet for race day read 700 horsepower, not 900. That's a third of the power left on the table, all for the sake of making it to hour 24. Cooling became an obsession. Larger oil coolers, thicker oil, new passages drilled through the rotors to carry heat away from the seals. Every choice was about keeping the metal alive, not chasing the stopwatch. The car would never be the fastest in a single lap, but it could run flat out for hours without a single warning light. While rivals chased tenths, Mazda chased reliability. Some in the paddock thought it was defeatist. Others saw desperation. But the gamble was simple. A rotary carefully detuned could outlast the favorites. The numbers on the timing sheets would only matter if the engine saw the finish. For Mazda, endurance meant everything. They built a car to survive the night. Takayoshi Ohashi stood in the paddock with a stack of papers and a quiet confidence. He had found a line in the rulebook that no one else cared to read. The ACO's weight tables said every Group C car needed 100 kilograms of ballast to meet the new fuel formula. But Mazda's 787B, built light and simple, didn't need it. Ohashi argued for an exemption, and the officials agreed. One line, tucked into Appendix B said Mazda could run at 850 kilograms, no extra weight, no penalty. The other teams, Mercedes, Jaguar, Peugeot, lugged the full 100 kilograms around the circuit. It was a small difference on paper. On the track, it changed everything. The 787B dove into corners, changed direction, and carried speed where the heavyweights struggled. Rival budgets dwarfed Mazda's. The European factories brought more cars, more spares, more people. But every one of their machines started the race heavier, fighting physics on every lap. Still, nobody believed the rotary would last. Not in France, not on the grid, not in the press box. On race morning, a French TV commentator shrugged. On ne mise même pas un yen sur la Mazda. C'est un moteur qui sent l'huile et la chaleur. Il ne finira pas. Not a single yen wagered. To them, the rotary was a curiosity, smelling of oil and heat, destined to fail before dawn. The field lined up, European prototypes gleaming in the sun, each weighed down by ballast and expectation. Mazda's car waited, light and alone. The odds were set. The doubters had spoken. The race was about to begin. Night falls and the track grows quieter. One by one, the favorites begin to stumble. Gearboxes jam, drive shafts snap. The Mercedes C11, heavy with ballast, limps into the garage at dawn and never returns. Jaguar's XJR14 fights its own weight through every corner, 100 kilos of extra weight dragging it back. Peugeot's Nuno 5, bold and loud in the paddock, breaks its suspension before the sun is up. The field thins. The rotary keeps singing. The Mazda 787B runs steady laps hour after hour. Volker Wiedler, Johnny Herbert, Bertrand Gachot. Each man takes his turn behind the wheel. No drama, no heroics, just the same rhythm, lap after lap. The crew watches the monitors. Oil temperature stays in the green. Apex seals hold. The engine breathes, alive but never pushed past its limits. By the 21st hour, the scoreboard tells the truth. The 787B completes lap 254. Jaguar's last hope is in the pits, mechanics hunched over a shredded tire. The official timing sheet records the moment. Mazda moves into the lead. No one in the stands can believe it. The French commentator's words still hang in the air. Not a single yen was wagered on Mazda. The drivers feel the strain. Herbert's odds are raw from the wheel. Weidler's eyes are bloodshot. Gachot pushes through the fatigue, knowing this is their only shot. The car never falters. The detuned engine, the lighter chassis, the ballast exemption, every small advantage adds up. By the time the clock approaches 4 in the afternoon, Mazda is 2 laps clear. The impossible is happening. The underdog is about to win. The checkered flag fell. The Mazda 787B rolled to a stop, the engine still humming, heat radiating from the orange and green bodywork. Johnny Herbert, too exhausted to stand, was helped from the car and carried straight to the medical tent. He never made it to the podium. His hands shook from dehydration and adrenaline. The crew gathered in a tight circle, silent, watching doctors tend to their driver. Herbert's eyes were red. He had given everything. The car had given even more. Scrutineers arrived with clipboards. The rules demanded a full inspection. Mechanics pulled the engine cover. The R26B looked untouched. No oil leaks, no burnt seals, no metal shavings in the pan. Gauges still red-green. The apex seals, the supposed weak point, measured within spec. Mazda's chief engineer told the press the engine could have run another 24 hours. The French officials nodded. almost in disbelief. The rotary had survived what the experts said it could not. But celebration faded fast. The next morning, the ACO posted a bulletin. No more rotaries. Effective immediately, engines like the R26B were banned from Group C. The language was cold, displacement limits, equivalence tables, no exceptions. Mazda's victory was now a one-off, sealed by a rule book. The car that outlasted the giants would never race again. Bertrand Gachot, one of the winning drivers, was missing from the post-race photos. Weeks later, he was sent to prison after a scuffle in London. His Formula One seat at Spa was handed to a young Michael Schumacher. A new chapter began, but the Rotary's story ended overnight. Today, the 787B sits behind glass in Hiroshima. The engine, still intact, draws crowds who listen for the ghost of its scream. Its legacy is a single, perfect victory, followed by silence. No one would have bet a single yen. Yet Mazda crossed the line first, Herbert barely conscious, the rotary engine torn down for proof. By morning, the rulebook erased them. Today, regulations still decide who gets to dream. Sometimes, the loudest victory is the one they try hardest to silence.